Ladies and gentlemen, Kei Kim here. Welcome to the Daily Update. Hope you guys had a good day trading. Today, market is up 0.6% there on the S&P. Nasdaq made a little bit bigger move today along with the semiconductor. Both of these guys made a 1% move. Dow's up about 0.2%. Russell 2000, the small caps, however, made almost 2% gain today. Transport made up 1%, made a move today on the transport, up 1%. Looks like banks is up 0.3% though. Also, you can see energy and utilities are the only sectors today with red prints there. Biotech up 1.3%, healthcare 0.6%. Same with the home builders there. Retail made a big move today, 4% positive on the retail performance. Emerging market up 0.5% there. So as you can see today, green day today. We just got a couple indices or sectors to be red, but almost all the indices and sectors are up about 1% or more. With the retail being about 4% positive day today. Looks like grayscale Bitcoin is down a little bit. Gold down 1% or so. Silver is flat. GDX made a move though, 1% positive there. Dollar is red today. Oil's down about 4%. Treasury bond is down 1%. And VIX is down about 5% there. Let's see what the S&P 500 ETF. Spider, 65-minute chart here. So it looks like this is the level we talked about here, right? You can see that the micro-term pivot, right? Prior resistance acting as new support right here. And also we talked about this potential flagging or pennant pattern. We also talked about that there's gonna be a little hiccup before making a move. It's never gonna be a smooth to the upside, because these are what? These are bullish continuation pattern. You can see it didn't gap up. We gapped down first, moved sideways all day long, and then on the 5th hour we made a move, and then a 6th hour we saw continuation there. So we can see that even though we did see that bullish pennant pattern, it wasn't the textbook breakout. It came down first and then made a move later. And this is exactly what we talked about on the last night's analysis, because we've seen something like this before. We had something like this here that potentially looked like some kind of a continuation pattern that came down first and made a move. And you can see right, a bigger flagging pattern. We made that down move first before making a move. So you got to understand that these short-term patterns is gonna make sure to do a little bit of hiccup, a little bit of shenanigan in the micro term, and then when these kind of micro term traders give up on it, and then once they give up, seems to be that they make a move later. So we market continues to march higher. So let's zoom out here, see if you can get a better idea of where we're at overall. So you can see, and all the battles were fought right here, right? You can see that this vicinity was the important level. And we, if you've been watching my videos and back in late September and early October, I've been intensively covering this level, talking about, this is going to be the important level. And we talked about that, that potential inverted head and shoulder playing out. But I think what really did it was, once we established that higher low on that right shoulder, and when we saw that decent size gap, and this gap held, and then we reclaimed that short-term moving average. And once that happened, the game was over. It was victorious for the bulls. And then bulls find a way to make new all-time highs. And we've been talking about this, since you can see right here. Let's see. This was September 30th. And this was a low here when the spot was trading at 429. There's a signal that came about. We talked about that this could be that signal where we made these lower lows on the price action coming down, but the oscillator was not budging. But the oscillator did not come all the way down, bottom of its band. You know what I mean? Getting into that, extreme oversold level. Instead, what happened was, though price was coming down, oscillator is moving sideways, telling us that there's some adamant bulls hanging around, maybe even buying the dips, slowly accumulating. And then we talked about his right here. This is a 4, and we talked about that oscillator becoming some kind of a bullish divergence pattern right here. And we also talked about that this is the setup that can set the tone for October. You guys remember that? Even I named the title of this video, October Tone Setter. You guys remember? And then this was October Tone Setter Part 2. So you see how everything came about from that signal right here that, and the price was coming down while the oscillator moved sideways, right? There was that first hint, something was going on. There are these smart money buying these dips, and the oscillator is not getting reset all the way to the bottom of its band. Instead, what it did was price coming down and cultivated higher low, built the energy, right? And that's what we talked about here. And this was October Tone Setter Part 2, right? And then what happened was after that, and that's October 5th, right? So you can see that there you go. Then there's October 12th, and then we made a big gap, will come back down, and then oscillator kind of came back down to this level. But what happened was now buyers were starting to build that momentum, right? I didn't draw the very right there, so you can see we got these higher high. This is a higher lows. I mean, this is first time seeing this cultivation of higher lows and higher highs in the price section, because remember, market has been in this kind of a downturn, and this is the first time we are witnessing this in early October to mid-October here. And you can see the oscillator did come back down and reset after making a move here. It came back down to this support area where everything is started, but look at that price is already elevated, right, making that higher lows. And we talked about if we do bounce here from this level, right, bulls have achieved so much, they might even declare victory at that time, if we do see that higher low or make a move here. So you can see, and that's what happened next day. And then this time, oscillator just crossing right back up. We saw a little bit of bullish momentum there. And then we saw a big gap up right here, right? So you can see right there. Right, and then the oscillator got right back up right here, got right back up, higher lows, gap up, and then for the first time, this entire decline that we saw in September, early October, buyers reclaim this peak right here, the swing high, and made that higher high for the first time. Once we saw that happening, once we saw that this gap wasn't filled, trend has been shifted. And then at the time, pretty much bulls declare victory, you can see, and then continue to make a move, and there was all-time high there. With that, we're here at 464. So you can see how that process, right, how this bottoming process occurring. And so you can see that how it all first started with these higher lows and higher highs, and then reclaimed that short-term moving average. The gap played a huge role in that, right? That gap played a huge role. And then to, put the nail in the coffin was this move right here, right? You see my midterm moving average, right? Support, resistance. Keep that in mind, that resistance right here. Once we hit that midterm moving average, what happened to that price? It tanked. So what happened right here, buyers be like, I don't want to deal with that level. It is a pretty strong resistance. So what it did was it gapped over it and opening up that secondary gap, which we're going to call this one breakaway gap, continuation gap. So once we saw this right here, the game was over. After that, bulls have already built that momentum. We already got these higher lows and higher highs, gotten above this major pivot, above short-term moving at the midterm moving average. And ever since then, you can see, we see these little fluctuations in the micro term, but market continues to move higher, and that's the process how this market reversed back up after this about 6% decline. Let's check out that oscillator and see if we can extract any more information from today's price action. So you can see that this is kind of what we talked about here. We don't want to get, you know, when we give benefit of the doubt to the buyers, you can see how what happens is, you know, the oscillator kind of oscillates back and forth at the top of his band, right? You can see how this does not come all the way back down to the bottom of his band. You see that? But what it does is it stops short and then it oscillates back and forth at the you know, top half of his band. And that's essentially telling us the trend is up. We want to give benefit of the doubt to the buyers in the micro term and the short term. As long as this oscillator continues in this fashion, this market can keep going higher like this. And once in a while, at some point, we will see a little bit more a pullback. But right now, all the momentum is the buyer side. Buyers got all the control. And so we want to continue to, and you can see how just even these micro term pivots are playing out. You know, you can see this prior resistance new. So even, I mean, you can see even happen here and here, happen here, here. You can see happen here, here, right? 3 times right there. Boom, boom. Micro term pivots are working. That means there are essentially no sellers here. Right? There are no sellers here. Buyers are just buying these short-term dips, and the market continues to make a move after building this kind of a momentum that we're seeing right here. Right? Nobody knows where the top is. We don't know. You know what I mean? We don't want to start calling the top. Or you know, laws of physics do not apply in the market. Market can and, you know, will do the unthinkable. So best thing we can do, you know, is that, hey, you know what? Let's recognize that the price been above my short-term moving average right here, along with the gap up, and then it got above my mid-term moving average. Ever since then, you can see how price never gone below my short-term moving average. And I talked about as long as we're above that short-term moving average, we want to continue to give benefit of the doubt to the buyers. Let's come back tomorrow. We'll reassess the situation. Enjoy your evening and good luck trading tomorrow.